So as we've explored characters from the Lord of the Rings trilogy, we seem to keep coming back to the same guy, Morgoth. Without Morgoth, there likely would have never been a corrupted Sauron, no rings, no quest to Mount Doom, nothing. So let's take a closer look at the one who started it all. Understanding Morgoth requires delving into his origins. Morgoth was first called Melkor, and he was the greatest of the Ainur. You may remember that the Ainur were the first spirits created by Eru Ilúvatar. Among the Ainur, Melkor was given the greatest power and knowledge, and he had a special role in shaping the world during the music of the Ainur. Music, you ask? Yes. Eru Ilúvatar used music to shape the vision of the universe in the minds of the Ainur, wanting to emphasize that creation originated from thought and design rather than material manifestation. That's right, before the Ainur even had physical form, they were out there just creating music. The music was meant to represent the conceptual blueprint for existence. Alas, Melkor's pride and impatience led him astray, as pride and impatience usually will. And this is when the trouble with Melkor begins. While other Ainur sought harmony in the music, Melkor introduced discord, attempting to bend the music to his own desires. Despite this, Ilúvatar wove the dissonance into a greater harmony, showing his ultimate authority. But that was it for old Melkor. He had revealed himself to be a troublemaker in the truest sense. Now, when the physical world was formed, it was called Arda. Melkor descended into Arda with the other Ainur, taking physical form, and this is when they became known as the Valar. Unlike the rest of the Valar, Melkor's ambition was to dominate the world rather than nurture it. Everyone else was keen to just take a relaxed and friendly approach to existence, but not our Melkor. He coveted Arda for himself and sought to subjugate all creation to his will. Sound familiar? This set him on a path of hostility against his fellow Valar, especially Manwë. Who's Manwë, you say? Manwë is essentially Melkor's brother, leader of the Valar and king of Arda. He represents wisdom, kindness, and fairness, and he is second only to his brother Melkor in strength. But unlike Melkor, Manwë remains loyal to Eru Ilúvatar. He cares deeply about all living things and governs with love and wisdom, not with force. It's this trusting nature of Manwë that sometimes makes him unable to see the full danger of Melkor's plans, and it's this trust that allows Melkor to spread evil. And that he did. Melkor's transition into Morgoth was gradual but inevitable. One of his first acts of treachery was the destruction of the two lamps. Iluin and Ormal were lamps the other Valar created to light the world. Melkor plotted to destroy the pillars that these lamps stood on, and when he was successful, the world was plunged into darkness. Now, when I say Melkor destroyed two pillars, you may think of a really big pillar, maybe something from ancient Greece, but these pillars were not like man-made pillars. These pillars were higher than any mountain. They were enormous, so destroying them is quite a feat. So now that Melkor has gone and plunged the world into darkness, he is now able to do a couple of things. He created, and when I say created, I mean it with finger quotes, because Melkor had no powers to genuinely create. But he was able to corrupt and manipulate one thing into another. He captured and tortured elves to create the first orcs. He made dragons, which were the physical manifestation of his malice and greed, and he made the Balrogs. The Balrogs were corrupted Maiars. You'll remember that the Ainur were divided into two groups, the Valar and the Maiar. And the Maiar acted as servants or helpers to the Valar. I don't mean that in a, here's your coffee and morning paper, sir, kind of way. The Maiar were incredibly powerful themselves. Sauron was a Maiar. Gandalf was a Maiar. So that's what Melkor did. He took the Maiar he could influence and he turned them into the fire demons we all know and love. This naturally was not going to fly with the other Valar, and Melkor was attacked and imprisoned in Valinor for about 3,000 years. But no matter, Melkor served his time, feigned remorse, and soon enough was back at it again. After he was released, Melkor began his corruption of the Noldor, which set into motion much of the tragedy and conflict whose effects would stretch across the ages. What you need to know about the Noldor is they were once the most loyal and gifted of the elves. They were the best craftsmen around, and they were renowned for their skill in gem extraction. This is important. So, Melkor goes off to spread lies and sow distrust among the Noldor. He told them that the Valar sought to control them and that they envied the Noldor's skills. He told Fëanor, the most gifted of the craftsmen of the Noldor, that the Valar intended to steal the Silmarils. The Silmarils are very important, and what they are 3 radiant jewels that contain the light of the 2 trees of Valinor. So what are the 2 trees? The 2 trees of Valinor were the source of light in Valinor. They gave wisdom, and even the dew collected from the trees was used to create stars. So they're quite important within the mythology. So naturally, Melkor destroyed them. And when Melkor destroyed them, it meant the only remaining light from the 2 trees was contained within the Silmarils. So Melkor stole them and placed the Silmarils into his iron crown and wore them around as symbols of triumph. This act naturally enraged the Noldor and incited the Oath of Fëanor, leading to the tragic rebellion of the Noldor and their exile to Middle-earth, where they became deeply entangled in wars against Morgoth, leading to great loss and great suffering. It's after he stole the Silmarils that Melkor was henceforth called Morgoth. Eventually, after dozens of battles that could never properly be covered in one video, the Noldor and the Valar would join forces to defeat Morgoth. Morgoth would be stripped of his physical form and thrown into the void. Unfortunately, for better or for worse, Morgoth's malice was sewn into the very fabric of the world and ensured that his shadow would linger long after his defeat, which is exactly what we see when Sauron hits the scene. Now, if you've read the Silmarillion, you know that this barely scratches the surface of Morgoth's crimes, but at least it's a start. The Silmarillion hasn't been made into a movie, but I wish it could be. Currently, the rights of the Silmarillion are not up for grabs, so no one is going to be making that movie or series anytime soon. But if they did, who would your director of choice be? Would you give Peter Jackson another kick at the can, or is there a better suited director out there? Let me know. Thanks for watching.